Good morning, everybody. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people. Today is December 12th, 2022. Sorry, guys. I can hardly breathe here. I've been running and trying to take all of this in, but I saw this the other day and didn't know how to understand it. I knew there was something to this because the World Cup right now is in Qatar. And if we consider the number 7,000, this is 7,000 in the Hebrew Strong's Concordance, and the word is Qatar. Okay, so we have here a sign of the millennium. Okay, 7,000, right? You've got 6,000 years, and then you've got, after the day of the Lord, you've got the millennium coming, right? We are waiting for the coming of Christ. We're waiting for the timing of the Great Tribulation, and more than anything else, we're waiting for the coming of the millennium and peace on earth and the New Jerusalem and everything else that has to do with the end of the world and judgment and cleansing and purification and a new heaven and a new earth that God is going to be bringing, and the end of all things, just as it is written throughout all of the prophets, Ezekiel, Zechariah, the book of Revelation, all of this that talks about the coming new Jerusalem, the millennium, the reign of Jesus Christ on earth in peace and security, true peace and true security. Okay, so we have here, I want to tie a few things together. The other day, okay, we've got 7,000. Now, before I move on here, the number 7,000 in and of itself means new millennium, and it in the Strong's Concordance here, it means to shut in or to enclose. Okay, to shut in or enclose. But there's so much more to this. Now, Qatar, where is the World Cup right now? Okay, the World Cup is in Qatar. Okay. This, every time we see signs like this, it's just proof to us that they know, okay, the world elite, the world leaders, they know about Bible prophecy more than like 95% of all Christians out there. They know what to expect. They know what they're looking for. They know what is coming. They know what the prophecies say, and they are fulfilling the prophecies. And now do you think it's a coincidence that they're in Qatar? Why Qatar? There's been so many controversies about the World Cup in Qatar, like all of the things that, how many people died in, creating all of the stadiums, and there's no drinking there, and all of the laws. It's just the worst place in the world. If you want to have a World Cup and have people enjoy soccer, Qatar's the worst place in the world you could do it. Well, they did it in Qatar, and there's a reason. There's always a reason. Everything that's happening, there's a reason behind it. Okay. Well, here's something that I saw, and 7,000 means Qatar. Okay. And then over the last few days, as we have been watching December 18th, which is not just one day in and of itself, but it's the beginning of Hanukkah. It's a 7 and 8 day feast. It takes us through December 26th. But we have the connection to 18th of December because it's the 24th day of KISLEV, and that's the exact day written in the book of Haggai, that on this day I will shake the heavens and the earth. Okay, so there's a revelation. This is a biblical revelation of a specific day that the shaking is going to happen. All right. Well, this is December 18th. In 2022, KISLEV 24 falls on December 18th. Okay, then we have the World Cup in Qatar. The last day of the World Cup is December 18th. Then we have a movie, The Tomorrow War, that shows that during the Christmas season there's a soccer game. The player's number has 18 on it, and the stadium blows up. And it begins a world war. And it has to do with the final of the World Cup. and the number 18 is right there in the screen, and it's Christmas. It's Christmas season, okay? So it's not a summer movie, it's a Christmas movie. It shows us it's in the winter. It shows us this was a year ago this movie came out, but it shows us. Okay, so the World Cup. The World Cup is in Qatar. Okay? And the meaning of Qatar is 7,000. To close in or to shut in or to enclose, okay? What does it say in Isaiah 26:20? Okay? Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers, and shut thy doors about thee. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpast. Okay, so to close yourself in, to shut in, it's talking about the wrath of God that is going to be coming upon the world. Isaiah 26:20 says, come, my people, enter into thy chambers, shut thy doors about thee, hide thyself, as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpast. Now I want to bring to you the meaning of 7,000 as used in the Bible. 7,000 did not bow. I want to take you to Mount Horeb in Israel, to a dark cave. Inside the cave sits a lonely prophet of God. This godly man is elderly now, probably in his 80s. He feels all alone. He has completely given up on society. Some 40 days earlier, the prophet had begged God to strike him dead. See, even here, 40 days earlier. What do we have 40 days before December 18th? It was the last blood moon of this whole series of blood moons that have been. And the blood moon is coming before the day of the Lord, and we have a 40-day warning. Well, even here, in the 7,000 that did not bow to God, we have a 40-day connection to Elijah, who's locked up in a cave, shut in a cave, okay? 7,000 means to shut up, to shut in, to enclose. And now we have this situation where he is inside a cave. Some 40 days earlier, the prophet had begged God to strike him dead. He was convinced this nation is too far gone. The church is backslidden beyond repair. Every leader is a puppet of the devil. Revival is simply impossible now. There's no hope left. I've had it. Please take away my life. And Prophet Elijah wanted to die. Who was this prophet? It was saintly Elijah. He came to such a despairing state just hours after he'd won the greatest victory of his lifelong ministry. You remember the story on Mount Carmel. Elijah faced 850 false prophets in a life or death showdown over whose God would prevail. Some 450 of these prophets served the god Baal, the pagan god Baal. The other 400 were priests of the idolatrous groves built by wicked Queen Jezebel. Now in a demonic ritual, the Baal prophets began dancing and wailing, trying to awaken their god. When the frenzy finally ended, the prophets lay bleeding profusely, totally exhausted. Then Elijah stepped up for his turn. He simply called on the Lord, and instantly supernatural fire fell from heaven. The engulfing blast of heat consumed both the prophet's sacrifice and the 12 barrelfuls of water he'd poured around it. It even consumed the rocks on the altar. What an awesome display of God's almighty power. The false prophets trembled at the sight, and the backslidden Israelites who were present all fell to their knees, crying, "The Lord, He is God, the Lord, He is God." Elijah then slew every one of those 850 false prophets. Suddenly, revival was back in Israel. What the awakening Elijah had prayed for had finally come, or so he thought. This is God's hour. It's the beginning of the renewal I've preached about for so long. Elijah was so energized, he outran King Ahab's chariot for 25 miles back to the capital city, Jezreel. His mind must have raced with exciting thoughts. Who can stand against what God has done today? This nation's sensual, ungodly government must collapse. And Jezebel's next. She may be racing back to her idolatrous father in Zidon right now. No doubt she's heard about the fire from heaven, and she wants to escape the Holy Ghost's purge. This has to be the greatest moment in Israel's history. Elijah was convinced the people would listen to him now. I believe he determined to go straight to the abandoned temple to restore pure worship in Jezreel. But before he even came near the city, he was accosted by a messenger from Jezebel. The queen threatened, "So let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time." She was telling Elijah, "You've got 1 day to live, prophet, before I slay you the way you slew my priests." Within 24 hours of his incredible victory on Mount Carmel, Elijah was back in the wilderness, trembling under a juniper tree. In his mind, everything had backfired, and overnight all his hopes for renewal vanished. 40 days later, we find Elijah lodging in a mountain cave all alone. The Hebrew word used for lodge means to stop or stay. It also implies a meaning of to complain or hold a grudge. Apparently, Elijah had decided, it's all over, finished. If a miraculous fire from heaven can't motivate a backslidden people, nothing can. Then the Bible tells us, "The word of the Lord came to him, and he said unto him, What dost thou here, Elijah?" This was God's way of saying, "What's bothering you, Elijah? Why the anger? What's your complaint?" Suddenly the prophet began to unburden his pent-up heart. "I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, for the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away." Much of what Elijah said was true. God's people were in a sad state. Wickedness abounded in Israel, and true prophets were maligned and their words were mocked. Yet in spite of this, Elijah remained faithful. He was wholly given to God's cause, praying fervently for revival. But he was wrong to think he alone carried the Lord's burden. I don't believe Elijah was being proud when he said, essentially, "I'm the only sin-hating, God-fearing preacher left in this nation." In my opinion, Elijah was simply overcome by loneliness. I believe he was saying, "Lord, if others are as zealous for you as I am, where are they? I don't see anyone crying out against the sins as I do." The fact is, many praying people are often loners, and few are great socializers or mixers. Why? Anyone who wrestles with the Lord in prayer shares the burden of his heart. They begin to see as God sees, and they're able to discern the true condition of God's people. They're sobered by all the flesh and foolishness that they see in his house, and it drives them to their faces, praying as Elijah did with a broken heart of concern. If you're a person of prayer, you've probably felt alone as Elijah did. Perhaps you too mourn over your nation, especially the never-ending river of blood America has shed through abortion. Maybe you cry out as Amos did, "Lord, don't let me sit back and ease while such great bondage exists in your church." Maybe you wonder as Elijah did, where are the godly leaders and broken-hearted shepherds? Where are those who still believe in holiness instead of fleshly methods? I feel like an out-of-step fanatic. Please, Lord, bring me into fellowship with others who see the things I'm seeing. Now think of Elijah, alone in that cave. He must have been overwhelmed by utter loneliness. Then a still, small voice came to him again, asking, "What dost thou, Elijah?" Once more Elijah replied, "I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away." This time God answered him, "You are not alone, Elijah. Soon you will meet my servant Hazael. I want you to anoint him as king over Syria. And there's godly Jehu, whom you're to anoint as king over Israel. There is also the young prophet Elijah, who will serve beside you." Finally, the Lord said to Elijah, "I have remaining to me in Israel 7,000. all whose knees have not bowed unto Baal, and all whose mouths have not kissed him. God was saying, I've got 7,000 hidden ones, Elijah, men and women who haven't given in to the spirit of this age. They're growing in my spirit, and they all share the same burden as you. Among these 7,000 were 100 true prophets hidden away in caves by godly Obadiah. Obadiah was a high-ranking governor who served in evil King Ahab's household. He had hidden the 100 prophets in 2 caves, 50 at a time, and was keeping them alive with bread and water. Obviously, Elijah must have known about these godly men. He also knew of Micaiah, a godly prophet who'd been jailed by Ahab for prophesying hard things to him. Yet, even knowing of these men, Elijah was still overcome by loneliness in his calling. These 7,000 represent the holy remnant of God that he is preparing today for the coming chaos. Dear brothers and sisters, listen once more to what this is saying. These 7,000 represent the holy remnant God is preparing today for the coming chaos. God also has a hidden remnant in this generation who have not bowed to the idols of the age. I'm going to jump to the end of this article, as this is a very long article, and I will leave the link for if you want to go and read it yourself. But I want to read the last paragraph. This is from World Challenge, which is one of my most favorite ministries in the world, the ministry of David Wilkerson. Very godly man of God, prophet of God, and this is a timely word that we are receiving. Obviously, this is an article that was written some time ago, but this is the meaning of 7,000, and this is written by World Challenge. A reliance on hope. The 7,000 in Elijah's time endured because of their hope in a coming day of deliverance. Likewise today, the church's blessed hope is the soon return of Jesus. With one trumpet blast, all wickedness will end. Our Lord will do away with the killing of babies, all blatant perversions, all ethnic genocide. Of course, we're to evangelize, minister, and work while it's still day. But all the while, we're to live in the hope that King Jesus is coming. And he's bringing a new world with him, where he'll rule from his eternal throne. This story was written in 1 Kings 19. The message of the 7,000 who were not bowing to Baal and the remnant of God. This also connects us with what happens just after this story. If you continue to read on, I think that brings us right to the end of Elijah's ministry. And what happened at the end of Elijah's ministry, dear brothers and sisters? Elijah was raptured. There are only 3 instances in the Bible of rapture. The first instance is Enoch. The name Enoch means dedication. Hanukkah means dedication, the feast of the dedication. Now we are here. We see the World Cup ending in Qatar. Qatar meaning 7,000, and 7,000 is the number of the remnant. This leads us to the story of Elijah, who was also raptured. We do our best to not put our eye on a specific day and try to predict the exact day and hour of the rapture or the coming of Jesus Christ. But we have clear signs, dear brothers and sisters, that the coming of Christ is so imminent. It could happen any moment, any day now. We have signs pointing us to a specific time frame, and that's okay. We keep our eyes open for everything that's happening around us, and we always know that Jesus can come at any moment, and we must be ready. What is the message above and beyond? Do not get left behind. Be ready for the coming of Christ. He is at the door. And this is what I wanted to share with you today. Later on today, dear brothers and sisters, Daniel, Taylor, and I, who has helped over the last few days, we have been working together to get out information about Hanukkah and about the connection to the blood moons and about the casting down of Satan on Hanukkah and how it's all connected biblically and with signs in the heavens showing us. There's such powerful revelations coming out. There's another amazing revelation that Daniel and I have put together. We have worked on this together, and he is going to be presenting the screenshots for us, and then I'm going to present it in a video later today if I can do that. My son is on his way from Bible college. He's going to be showing up in Cancun later today, and we have to go pick him up at the airport, and we're going to be there late. He comes in late, so we're going to spend a night there in Cancun, and then we're going to be driving home tomorrow. We live 4 hours from Cancun, and that's one of the perks of being a missionary in Yucatan, Mexico, to be able to take our day off and go to Cancun, right? Well, we live close enough to be able to do that. So, but if I can get into Cancun early enough tonight, and if Daniel has that ready, I hope I can get that other information out to you tonight. Please stay tuned. Please continue watching all of the videos in the playlist. We are going on. I think this is going to be the 50th video, okay? This is going to be the 50th video I've done since August, and every video I've done since August has been pointing us to this time. These are all the signs. I know that many people want to have all of the information in one video. We've been getting revelations one at a time, one day at a time, and we have to put it out as we get it. If we have time in the next day or two to put all of the information in one video, I'm not sure. There's too much information. All you have to do is go and start the playlist. Most of my videos are pretty short. Some of them are 2 minutes. Some of them are 8 minutes. Some of them are 20 minutes or 30 minutes. But for the most part, I try to do very quick, easy videos. It just gives you one step at a time. And these are all the signs pointing us to Hanukkah, the feast of the dedication. In John 10:22, it says, it was winter, it was the feast of the dedication. Jesus was in Jerusalem, and he revealed himself on Hanukkah. He said, I and the Father are one. It was the revealing of the Messiah. And he confessed to the people, he revealed himself to the people on Hanukkah that he was God. And this is all scripturally sound. Everything that we are sharing you, it's written in the Bible. The feast of the dedication. And now we've got all of this connecting us to the remnant, okay? And the World Cup, Qatar, the word Qatar, the number 7,000, the remnant of God, okay? Hopefully we'll be back later today. I pray you guys are blessed. This was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but very important information. I need to get this out to you. Have a wonderful day. This is Steve Fletcher with a trumpet for my people, the sign of his coming revealed.